All right, everyone, let's get started. So this is another session of SciTech Talks. These are speakers who will be presenting in sort of like a TED Talk style about their amazing work. And the first speaker for today is Dr. Abeer AlOlayan, and it's my pleasure to introduce her. She's a senior research scientist at Saudi Aramco. She has worked between industry and academia for over 20 years related to the field of chemistry in research and in trying to apply it. She was an assistant professor with the chemistry department of Dammam University before joining Saudi Aramco. She's been awarded the Woman of the Year Award for Oil and Gas and Petrochemicals in the Middle East for 2017, as well as other local, regional, international awards. She was selected among the top 100 elite figures in the global energy by British Petroleum. And she's a project leader at Saudi Aramco in Dhahran and in the Saudi Aramco Global Research Centers in the US and at MIT. She's also a visiting research scientist at the Department of Material Science and Engineering here at MIT. She taught a course related to empowering science in oil and gas industry here at MIT as well. She holds an executive certificate on innovation and strategy from MIT Sloan School of Management, so really very well-rounded. She also served on the board of directors at the American Chemical Society in Saudi Arabia, and she was the first female member to do so. She's the author of many publications, and again, please join me in welcoming Dr. Abeer AlOlayan. Thank you.
Okay, you hear me? Okay, thank you for introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. At the beginning, I would like to thank the Arab Student Association here at MIT for having me to speak to this brilliant audience. It's always nice to be back again to Boston, as I have been spent like 1.5 years of my life here in MIT as a postdoc fellow. So I'm not sure how to introduce myself. But I can say that I'm a single mother, a teacher, a chemist, a PhD holder, innovator, a petroleum scientist, MIT fellow, woman of the storm, and you will know why, and woman of the year, oil and gas, and thank you so much. And the list can go on. So, I'll talk first about my motherhood because this is what I'm most proud of. I'm a mother of 3 children, and I'm not just proud of them because they are my children, but because I gave birth of them in my most difficult time in my life. When I have my master's degree, I have Lamis. And when I have my PhD degree, I have Lamis and Anas. And when I gave birth of Yusuf, the little one, my relationship with their father was not going that well, so I take the whole responsibility about them. So when I graduated from university 20 years ago, I was 3 years old, by the way, when I graduated. So I was nominated as a lecturer because I was top honored student for 4 years in a row. So my career was clear. I was happy. I know what career will be. But I'm not sure if this career will fit my passion. Does the academic environment will work for me? Putting in your mind that this kind of career, you have to study and you have to do the research and you have to teach. So it's like a dual career. Besides of growing my family, bringing my children, so it was like 3 careers at once. In addition, specialize in chemistry was not easy because you need a fund to continue the experimental work. And this reminds me with one of the biggest challenge that I faced when I started my PhD, when the administration of my university told me that they couldn't fund my PhD thesis and I have to postpone the PhD until the next year. For me, the subject of delaying was unacceptable at all because I know and I have believed that nothing impossible in this life. So I started to communicate with different R&D centers in the kingdom, asking them to support my PhD. And alhamdulillah, finally, I got approval from the R&D center in Saudi Aramco. They accepted to support my PhD. So working in Saudi Aramco, let me start to listen to the calling inside me, telling me that the work that I do in the academia is not what I want. I want to see the result of my research effectively and directly in the real world. And this is difficult in academia, but will be possible in industry. So I took like 3 years hesitant to take any decision for change. And finally, I listened to this calling and decided to resign from the university and join Saudi Aramco, and that was my best decision that I ever take in my life. That was in 2011. So, when I joined Saudi Aramco, and in a specific EXPIC Advanced Research Center, I was the only Saudi female with PhD degree in Saudi Aramco, in whole Saudi Aramco, as a Saudi female scientist with PhD degree, with just a few of women specialized in different areas like HR, ITs, and this stuff. And we have just a few expat scientists, but the majority was engineers. So I tried to focus my research on drilling operation in Aramco. In specific, I tried to focus on the drilling and the one of the biggest challenge in drilling operation in Aramco, which is loss circulation while drilling. So this problem or this challenge cost Aramco millions of dollars. So what is loss circulation? I'll just give you a little bit of this challenge. It's the loss of the drilling fluid while drilling to the formation that we are not expected to have. So we try to use a loss circulation material that will block these seals to prevent the loss of the drilling mud. So what I noticed that Saudi Aramco relied on chemicals, loss circulation materials that are imported from different service companies in the world. And I remember one of the story that happened when we brought one of these material, LCM materials, from one of pioneering service company. And that was LCM, of course. It was like 2 components, unknown components. And I look at these components, and as a chemist, I smelled it, and I told them, just a moment, I can design this material for you, since I'm a chemist. So I still remember the face of my boss. He looked at me and he replied, the service company tried to solve these problems for many years, and now you want to come and solve it? So this makes me try and try and try, because I have a faith inside of me that I can do it. So I tried to design this material day and night. I took like 2 months to develop this material until I succeeded. Then I brought it to my boss, and I told him, this is the material in front of you, and you can now evaluate it and compare it with the material coming from the service company to see if it will work or not. He was happy, and we evaluated, and it gave the same result as the material coming from the service company. And here, in this picture, I presented this innovation to the board of directors of Saudi Aramco. And I remember His Excellency Mr. Khalid Al-Falih here asked me, have you done all this work by your own, especially you are coming from a local university? I said, yes. And he replied to me, I'm very proud of you. This statement motivated me to innovate more and more chemicals that will solve most of Saudi Aramco operation challenges. And of course, the success of any innovation will prove if you take it to the field. And this is what happened. So here, I take my innovation to the field, and we prove that this material can work in the field. And until now, we have like 4 granted patents coming out from this innovation. I call this picture the Iron Woman in the silk. In the left picture, this is the woman who goes to the field, apply her technology by herself, stand side by side with the man to get the job done. And in the right side, the same woman in the fancy mode in Nice, in France. So the message here, I can be both. So in 2015, Saudi Aramco assigned me to lead a chemical development initiative to put a strategy for how we can design our own chemicals in Saudi Aramco labs. In addition, they awarded me a fellowship with MIT as a postdoc to enhance my research and to develop my skills. So in MIT, in my time at MIT, I started to initiate a program to develop materials that take the inspiration from medical side to overcome the challenges in oil and gas industry. And here in the picture, I worked with Professor Alexander Katz. We tried to develop a smart synthetic materials to this kind of challenges. And also, I was honored to teach a course in MIT during the IAP courses that happened in January. And that course was how to use the science to overcome the challenges in oil and gas industry. And I named that picture as Made in KSA, because I'm proud to have my whole education from the primary to the PhD level, locally in Saudi Arabia, and here I'm standing in MIT to teach a course. As a project leader, my work needs me sometimes to travel to our research center in Houston from time to time to do my research with our team in Houston. So one of my business trips in Houston, I witnessed the Harvey Hurricane, unfortunately. So for a Saudi woman like me, lived all my life in Saudi Arabia, the thing that I just know or I just experience is the sandstorm. So this is the maximum thing. So Harvey Hurricane was one of the experience that I have been through. That was in August, I remember, in 2017. So I remember the disaster started at night on a Friday, and it's lasted for like 4 days. I was stuck in the hotel without my kids, without my family. All what I wanted, I want to go back to my country. And I really felt homesick at that time. So Saudi Aramco started to see if there's any driver can take me out of the Houston to San Antonio, because the highway of the San Antonio, the only available highway, so I can take the airplane from there. So all the drivers refused to take me, unfortunately. And finally, one of the drivers, he was a Syrian one, and he accepted to take me out of the Houston under the condition that if we don't find the highway open for us, we will go back again to Houston. I said, okay. So these photos, the one in the bottom left, I took that photo. This is our trip to San Antonio. So the lesson from this disaster, that risks could be happen anytime. You couldn't expect it. So this is not just in your life, this is also in your career. So you have to be ready with your tools and you with the plan B to be ready for this kind of risks. "20 years ago, we grew in a society with the idea that women have just two options for the career, either to be a teacher or to be a daughter. But now Saudi women have different career options. She can be an engineer, architecture, an artist, and the list can go on. Now Saudi women live in their golden age, and not only this, they are now represent their government here in USA as an ambassador, and this is maybe a new information for you that you don't know. So now Saudi women can participate in all kinds of development in Saudi Arabia. She also participates in the development of the cities of the kingdom. Not only this, Saudi women also can be in the front line of the distinguished. So winning the Oil and Gas Woman of the Year means that Saudi woman is there, and means that scientists can play an important role in the oil and gas industry as engineers. So my advice to you is just let your work speak, and the success will be followed. Thank you so much. Have a questions? Yeah.
All right, we'll be open for a few questions from the audience, if anyone has. Any questions?
Thank you for sharing your story. I wonder, did the family name help or hinder your progress in Saudi as a scientist?
Of course, without my family, I couldn't reach to what I am now. So my family, my father and my mother, of course, and also my children support me to be where I am now. Of course, the road wasn't paved with flowers. It was a very hard journey. It's full with bumps, to be honest with you. Being a scientist, in academia, maybe it's an easy, but in oil and gas or in industry in overall, it's not easy. It's very difficult to prove your capabilities, not just to the men, but also to the society sometimes. But this is what we have right now. Thank you.
Any other questions?
So hello, and I really congratulate you for your success. For us, for example, in Sudan, we have certain faculties are prohibited from women. We have a faculty of petroleum only for boys, and faculty of surveying in many universities only for boys. So I think this is a message for the universities that ladies should be enrolled in whatever field. They will achieve success at the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Dr. AlOlayan. Again, thanks for joining us, and let's thank her for her amazing sharing her story.